Good evening. Good evening. Is that better? I'd like to give you all a very, very warm welcome to Getting Out and Staying Out's 20th anniversary gala. Tonight, we're here to celebrate the work of the GOSO community and the people who make it all possible. To our founder, the OG Mr. G, Mark Goldsmith, whom we will hear from a little later. To our immediate past president, Kimberly Till. Kimberly. Our fellow board members, participants, volunteers, partners, and equally important, GOSO employees. Your dedication and hard work are reflected here tonight. It's my enormous pleasure to introduce our MC for the evening, Ms. Cheryl Wills, an Emmy award-winning journalist, author, and New York's favorite anchor. Please give her a very warm welcome as she comes to the stage.
What an honor to be called New York's most favorite anchor. Hello, everybody. It's good to be here. And I bring you greetings from your favorite cable news station. I hope you haven't cut the cord. I still need to work until I get Social Security. So I got to tell you, I am so moved by this crowd and what GOSO is all about. Thank you, Robert, for that warm welcome. The gala's theme tonight is unveiling what's on the horizon. Tonight's gala is an opportunity for us all to come together and bask in the warm glow, as they so brilliantly wrote for me, of GOSO's accomplishments over these past 2 decades. Speaking of accomplishments, I'm sure you have all heard that GOSO has a new president and chief executive officer. Michelle Price Screen started on New Year's Day. Let's give her another round of applause. Two decades of service. That's what GOSO is all about, and we're thrilled for Michelle. And we're going to bring her up, but I want to personally salute. They're going to be talking about him all night, I'm sure. But I have the privilege of sitting right in front of the first alum of this amazing, life-changing organization. He went to Rikers when he was a teenager, and he is the perfect definition of getting out and staying out. You're going to see him on this stage in a little bit, but I want him to stand and take a bow. His name is John Gonzalez. He kicked this whole thing off. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our founder, the OG, and John Gonzalez. And you are going to see on my show every night at 10 o'clock, I host live at 10. You're going to see John and the OG real soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Madam President Michelle Price Screen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for that generous introduction. It is my distinct honor to serve in the position as President, CEO, and Chief Program Officer with Getting Out and Staying Out, otherwise known as GOSO. It is my pleasure to stand before you all at our 20th anniversary gala. Can you give a round of applause for this wonderful organization? Thank you. I first would like to say thank you to our amazing staff, our board, and our participants. And of course, we could not do any of this work without acknowledging our elected officials, our sponsors, and all of you, our friends. I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to say thank you to our immediate past president and CEO, Vicki Pryor. She has been such a mentor. She has provided guidance and leadership for the organization over the past 2 years. And when she passed the baton to me, I felt more than prepared for this role. Thank you so much, Vicki. And with that, I'm going to move on to the rest of the program that you're all here to listen to our participants and our other honorees. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the program.
Okay, thank you for that. Our honoree, Dr. Andrea Armstrong, is tonight's Dr. Norman C. Francis Distinguished Professor of Law at Loyola University, New Orleans, and College of Law, and a 2023 MacArthur Fellow. She is an incarceration law scholar, and she, along with her students, founded incarcerationtransparency.org. Dr. Armstrong is a graduate of Yale Law School, Princeton School of Public and International Affairs, and New York University. Without further ado, please join us in honoring Dr. Andrea Armstrong with the 2024 GOSO Pinnacle Award.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Well, thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, GOSO, for acknowledging me and for the work that I do in partnership with my students and my community. I am really passionate about this work, and I'm really grateful to accept such an incredible award. But we don't do this work for awards and prizes. We do this work to make a positive impact. And when that work is recognized and acknowledged, you strengthen and deepen the work itself. So the work that I do is to make our prisons and jails more transparent, because they are our prisons and jails, and they operate in our name. So our work is to prevent deaths behind bars by exposing the injustices that occur behind bars and within the incarceration system. I am so thankful for the people at GOSO who are committed to helping those who have suffered those injustices behind bars. Thank you, GOSO, for your decades of tireless advocacy and your support for a better path for all of us, including the people behind bars.
And next, thank you, Dr. Armstrong. I am delighted to introduce GOSO's founder, Mark Goldsmith. It is because of MG that I am able to stand before you this evening as President, CEO, and Chief Program Officer. During this program this evening, we will hear more about his vision for GOSO and the services provided through the eyes of the participants that we serve. MG, thank you for bringing your vision to life and for making this world a better place. On behalf of the entire GOSO team and the Board of Directors, tonight we present you with the 2024 GOSO Visionary Award. Please join me on the stage.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm gonna put you up.
Whoa, go GOSO. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you so much for honoring me tonight with the Visionary Award. But to tell you the truth, I didn't have a clue what was going to happen why I ended up on Rikers Island. But I'd like to start off my portion of the evening by giving a shout out to two women who were most responsible for getting out and staying out being created in the first place. The first is my wife, Dr. Arlene Goldsmith, who suggested that I become principal for the day, whatever that was, since I've always been good with kids. She thought it would be a great program for me, and it's also a program that would still be open to any of you who wanted to participate going to the New York City school systems. I'm a bit of a wise guy, so I asked for the toughest school in New York City, and where did they send me? Rikers Island. So Arlene, thank you for recommending. I never would have made it. The other woman deserving of an even bigger shout out is the principal of the Rikers Island Horizon Academy, Gloria Ortiz. Why? I had a very good first year there, and then I went back to work. 1 year later, I went back to principal for the day, and I said, okay, where are you sending me this year? Their answer was, you're going back to Rikers, at the request of their principal, Gloria Ortiz. So Gloria, thank you for inviting me back. There wouldn't be a GOSO without you. So what actually happened to me on that first day on Rikers? The correction officers came up to me afterwards and they said, what the hell did you tell these guys? You held their attention for 2 solid hours. What did you tell them? My answer was, I didn't tell them anything. I asked them what they wanted to do with the rest of their lives, as opposed to what they've been doing to get them onto Rikers Island. They didn't have a clue. So I asked them, by the way, do any of you guys know how to sell? Oh, we know how to sell. I said, I bet you do. There's something called sales where you get a commission instead of being sent up top. I said, who takes care of the money? This guy over here. I said, that's called finance. You can get a job in the finance department. Who tells everybody where to get these things? This guy over here. I said, that's called advertising. That's how I spent my first 20 years. For 2 hours, we talked about it, and by the time the class was over, I had placed every single guy in a corporate job, and I went back to work. The rest is history, past, present, and future. But what's interesting is the message. I knew all about education and employment. I didn't know much about emotional well-being, even though I'd been now schooled for 62 years on it. That combined with the single most important line that guided every decision that we made back in those days. Sitting with us is Paul Gutkowski, the original program director at GOSO, and we had a mantra. And what the mantra was, it's all about the guys. It's not about us, it's not about you, but it's about the guys. And every financial decision I made and every program decision I made, the first question I asked myself, is this going to help the guys? Now, unfortunately, there's a few shout outs that I'd like to give. Unfortunately, Charlie Kushner is ill and couldn't be with us tonight, but he's always been there for GOSO in so many ways. The last of which is a training program for GOSO guys, and one of his representatives here tonight, technical training to get really great jobs. He also had me invited to the White House when the then president signed the first half of the First Step Act, which shortened ridiculously long sentences for thousands of young men and women. Why? I told him the facts. I said, Mr. President, we have a recidivism rate of 10% versus 50% on Rikers Island. He nodded, and I said, and Mr. President, it costs $250,000 to have a young man be on Rikers. My cost is $10,000. He looked at Jared and said, okay, I'm going to sign the bill. So we feel very strongly about that. There's one other guy here tonight. He's kind of like my partner on Rikers. He's been spending countless hours in coaching GOSO guys, And if his latest guys weren't in Canada and California, they'd be here today. And that's my good friend and partner, Richard Block, is here today. Richard, hand for Richard. Now, I always like to tell a few stories. Arlene told me stories are important. So here are two stories, and the reason I tell you these stories is because you might know people out there who might enjoy coming talking to our guys or just spreading the word about GOSO. Those from you in New Jersey would be interested in knowing that it was Cory Booker. Senator Booker came to Rikers Island, and I'm sure, Gloria, you remember this. He asked a young man, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And the kid says, I want to be a boxer. Senator Booker looked at him and said, okay, how many push-ups can you do? Kid says 25, gets down and gives Cory 25. Booker takes off his jacket and gives him 50. And he said, you see that? You don't have enough confidence in yourself. The other guy, Edie, you're going to remember this day. Mariano Rivera happened to come to GOSO for the day, spent the day with the guys. And I said, okay, Mariano, it's the top of the ninth. We're playing the Red Sox. We're up 3-2. The bases are loaded. You got a 3-2 count on Big Papi. What are you going to do? He said one word, Jorge. Anybody know who Jorge was? Who was Jorge? He was his catcher, Jorge Posada. He said, wherever Jorge wanted the ball, that's where I put it. And he took that message to the guys only to concentrate on one thing at a time. That's my stories. Now let's get to the really important, part of tonight. I'd like you to meet the recipients of the 2024 Spotlight Award. If you guys would please join me. We have Mr. John Gonzalez, already introduced you as the first GOSO guy. We have our entrepreneur, Maliki Cottrell, all right? We have Carlos Polanco, and we have Anton Kogan. These are guys that we met over 15 years ago. We also have a participant in the program today, Devontae Fields. Is that right? All right. The spotlight shines a light on what happens when you're dedicated to becoming better and doing your part. This is really important because GOSO is not a free ride. We always emphasize this to corporations and foundations. Every GOSO guy pays his dues. You couldn't graduate without showing up with a shirt and tie in my office, resume and cover letter in hand, proving to me that you are capable of handling a great job. So, Devontae and Anton, you're up first.
Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing? All right, yeah. All right. I would like to give GOSO a heartfelt thank you for all that you have done to help me and participate past, present, and future. GOSO has helped me to get where I am today. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. First, I want to say it's really amazing to see how much support and how much GOSO has grown since I was in the program. There comes a time in all of our lives when we need others to believe in us. GOSO not only provided the support, but the staff, the participants all together believed in ourselves. Emcee, I just want to say that words are not enough and can't be enough to express how thankful we are to you and the Getting Out, Staying Out program. Thank you.
Okay, I now present to you the participant panel, which will be led by GOSO President Michelle Price Screen.
I'm going to start off by thanking each and every one of you for taking the time this evening to come out and share with us your stories. Stories that will hopefully inspire you and help you understand what the results are of the work that we do each and every day. So, first, I am going to start off by asking each of you to introduce yourselves and in a few words and share with us how you became involved with GOSO. And we're going to start with you, John.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is John Gonzalez. I am the first participant of Getting Out and Staying Out. I joined Getting Out and Staying Out at Rikers Island, a school by the name of Horizon Academy. Thanks to Gloria Ortiz and Mr. Anderson, they introduced me to Mark as principal of the day on a Monday. I'll never forget. And ever since I met Mark, he changed my life. Getting Out and Staying Out has been a huge part of my success after I got out of Rikers Island. And after meeting with Mark, before he had a brick and mortar, we were meeting at 39th Street in Madison at Starbucks. You know, those were the good old days. And then we ended up getting a brick and mortar, and things changed from that point on, but it has been a huge part of my success. And I'll be forever thankful to Getting Out and Staying Out, as well as Mark Goldsmith and Arlene as well, who's been a huge part of this program as well. And just want to say thank you.
Thank you, John. And Anton?
Hello, my name is Anton Kogan. Today, I'm a property investor and entrepreneur. I own a company that has served over 2 million families, not only in New York State, but all over the world with inmate care packages. A lot of the credit of where I am today is due to the people that I've met along the way. Gloria Ortiz was a big part of that. She's here in the crowd. Hi, Gloria. She helped me get my high school diploma when I was on Rikers Island. And Mr. G, who told me that it's not over, who helped me pursue education. And that's how I got involved with Getting Out, Staying Out.
Thank you, Anton. Maliki, can you introduce yourself for us, please?
Hello, everybody. My name is Maliki Cottrell, and I'm the owner of I Hold Junk Inc. It's a junk removal company that's been established in 2012, and since then we hired like men that were formerly incarcerated. But and I'm also an author. I have a published book on Amazon, and all of this is due to Mr. G, Miss Ortiz allowing Mr. G to come in and GOSO, and the principles that they stand by. So I met Mr. G on Rikers Island, and he sparked a fire for me to continue to pursue my passions, and he motivated me along the way, encouraged me, and it was just like a support, and that's all you need sometimes is just somebody to say, I'm with you, you know? So that's who he was. He was the one who sparked the flame for me to get to this point.
Thank you, Maliki. And last but not least, Carlos, can you introduce yourself, please?
First off, thank you everyone for being present. The support and the work that you all help do is absolutely amazing, and you guys are one of the reasons why we can be here expressing our stories. So my name is Carlos Polanco. I guess I could consider myself subject zero. So I first met Mark during one of those times when he went to Horizon Academy, and he helped me refine my vision in terms of what I should be doing, in terms of achieving academic success and absolutely knowing what it is that I should be focused on when going to school and everything that it's going to entail and all the hard work that ensued after that. Currently, I've worked in the capacity of being in the financial industry, working in accounting, from there managing a gym, and just being able to be around people who support those sorts of endeavors is what Mark has facilitated, and I am forever grateful for that.
Thank you, Carlos. Now, my next question is for MG. MG, since GOSO's early beginnings, education, employment, and emotional well-being have been essential parts of GOSO's programming. Can you please describe to us how Horizon Academy and the social work model were important parts of the GOSO story?
Well, when I first went to Rikers Island and I met Gloria's staff, I was really impressed because it was a combination of education, social work, and I kind of brought the employment aspect in. But when I got out and went to the city and set up a program, I got very strict orders from you-know-who. MG, if you hire one social worker without a master's degree, I'm out of here. So to this day, every social worker on Rikers Island has a minimum of a master's degree because the employment and education aspects of responding when you get out of a prisoner jail, that I understood. But the implications of the emotional well-being, so much had gone on and so much continued to go on that Arlene proved to be exactly right, because the social work staff at GOSO is nothing short of fantastic, because we believe very strongly in the mental health aspects. If you don't get aspects like that settled, education and employment doesn't have a chance. Thank you.
Thank you, MG. And those are still the essential model that we stand on even today. So I'm going to next ask Carlos, if you can tell us about the role that education programming at GOSO played in your life as you were re-entering the community.
Well, it definitely started first at Horizon Academy, thanks to Gloria and her staff at the time. That's where I met Mark, and it was through GOSO that I was actually introduced into my first college level courses, and from there I was able to seek BPI while I was incarcerated and finally graduate on campus May 2018. A graduation that I actually had the privilege of seeing Mark and Arlene in the stands, just full of smiles cheering me on, and that sort of just bow-tied, I guess, a relationship that we commenced way back in '04. Kind of a long time ago, huh? And just made me realize how much I've learned from not just Mark, but everyone who supports these sorts of endeavors that we attempt to carry forward when it comes to education, when it comes to academia. So what role has education played in my life? It's allowed me to be more of an inquisitive human being and just be more present in today's world.
Thank you. Anton, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Sure. Education, I would say that education opened every door that I was given the opportunity to walk through. Actually, every time I visit my mom's house, there's a trophy or valedictorian of Rikers Island. So that was a... So after getting a high school diploma, thanks to Ms. Ortiz and Horizon Academy, Mr. G told me that it wasn't over. At the time, I pled guilty to 10 years, and he opened the door for a college education. So I followed through with that. He encouraged me. I went through, got a bachelor's, and upon being released, I got a master's from Rutgers Business School. So to answer the question, after that, I was able to start a company which now employs 20 some odd people, and our social impact is huge. So education,
Education is big. So, thank you.
Thank you, Anton.
One of the things you should know is Anton's company sent a care package. You know, GOSO has an upstate program. If guys go, it's vernacular is up top. When you go up top to do certain time, we keep in contact with them. And this year, Anton sent a care package, his company, to every single GOSO guy up top.
Yep.
Now I'm going to turn this to John. Can you share with us the importance of vocational and employment skills training that you received at GOSO when you first came home?
Yeah, GOSO was a huge part of my education. Started with Horizon Academy, thanks to Gloria and the staff there. Upon release, I met with GOSO on a weekly basis. He kind of, helped me, guided me and what decisions I needed to be making, made sure that I had, a suit, a tie, a proper resume, for an interview. We did mock interviews. We would meet on a weekly basis, and he prepped me for the real world. I successfully obtained my CDL Class B license. I got into transportation, where now I'm an operations and safety manager. I've been in the industry for 18 years, thanks to, obtaining that license. But the vocational was definitely an intricate part in helping me, buy my first house, move out of New York, be a better father, be a good member of society, giving back to the community and never looking back again. And GOSO, till this day, has helped me tremendously, including Mark, with salary negotiations, prepping me for things like that. If it wasn't for GOSO, I wouldn't be here today. I honestly mean that with everything that I love.
Thank
and
you,
everything
John.
that I could say.
Maliki, can you share with us how GOSO's education, employment and vocational training helped you as you were transitioning back into the community?
GOSO gave me the spark. GOSO gave me, it was like a carrot, like it was like something to work towards. In prison it's like it's over, like it's like something that is like detrimental, like when you go to prison. But GOSO gave me an opportunity, like, listen, you could get out and stay out. That's like somebody telling you could get rich and stay rich, or get healthy and stay healthy. It's like exactly what I wanted to hear. So I'm like, whatever I need to do, I'm gonna do it. So he gave me the spark to get my education. I got my GED at Horizon Academy. Then I went to Lehman College. Then I started my own business, and we employed over 50 men from our community and women. So without GOSO, I would have never made it to this point, and those 50 men would have never got hired. And I would have probably, still been in the system or something like that. So they sparked a flame that just made this big fire. It's like a snowball effect, what GOSO does.
Thank you, Maliki. I wish we could go on and hear more. I'm sure I could ask you all a million additional questions, but in the spirit of time, I'd like to ask each one of you if you could share a word or two of encouragement for the current participants at GOSO. I'll start with you, John.
Thank you. I would just say stay focused. No matter what happens, don't give up. Even though it might not look like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Be resilient, overcome the challenges, and keep fighting another day. Don't give up. And we need more people like Mark, like GOSO, to continue moving on, to pass the baton so that we could see more success in our communities.
Thank you. Carlos?
Consistency and perseverance.
Thank you. Maliki?
I would say it's 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. So just focus on the 90%.
Thank you all so much. I am so inspired by each of you. Again, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your inspiration. And have a wonderful evening. Let's give the panel one last round of applause.
Good going, guys. Fantastic. You guys are the best.
If you're inspired by what you just saw, how about a round of applause for these young men and MG? I know I'm deeply inspired by seeing these heroes, and they're heroes to me because it's not always easy to rebuild your life. And that's what they have done, and we are here truly to celebrate them. I would now like to direct your attention to the GOSO 2024 Gala video. Take a look.
"20 years ago, our founder, Mark Goldsmith, went to Rikers Island as principal for the day and discovered that there was a genius in many of the young people that he saw there.
There was a specific area of young men who were really lost, and they also were going to have a record, which is not easy to overcome. So my whole idea was create an atmosphere for them where they can be comfortable. So from the day they walked into the office, the idea was that we're going to make you comfortable here, but we're going to challenge you.
20 years later, we continue to pass on the legacy of the 3 E's. The first E is education, where we work with our participants on literacy, GED, and college enrollment.
When you're coming out of the system, nobody wants to give you a chance. GOSO gives you a chance. They put you in a position to better yourself. They give you opportunities to expand, go to school.
The second E is employment, where we provide training for our young people, paid internships, and long-term employment.
So it wasn't like I had a struggle from before. It was a little much more easier for my life. I was able to get a job within 2 weeks, got my driver's license. I just stepped it up.
And the third E is emotional well-being. All of our case managers are trained mental health practitioners who greet our participants on the first day that they come here.
Because without GOSO, I feel like I would still be unemployed, going through depression, and just in a very bad state of mind. I love the work here at GOSO. Everybody here is nice. Everybody makes sure that you are heard, your ideals come to life, and you just gotta do what you gotta do to make sure that you are in a better headspace.
And most recently, we've added a fourth E, which is exposure, because we believe that there's a genius in all of us.
Everybody is pushing you 110%. That's what you need in life.
In keeping with GOSO's legacy, we continue to offer services for our young people through our reentry program at Rikers Island, at Horizon Juvenile Facility, as well as our upstate prison programs. We also offer programs in our community-based program, Stand Against Violence East Harlem.
SAVE began in 2016. SAVE is GOSO's Cure Violence program. We work inside the community doing intervention and prevention work. We have a team that's working inside the housing developments, a team of violence interrupters and outreach workers. We pretty much know who the high-risk youth are. We can't ask them or tell them to stop doing what they're doing without alternatives. And the alternatives that we have for them are all of the resources that we have here at GOSO.
So as we look towards the future,
Our plans are to continue to increase the expansion to all genders for our young people throughout New York City.
I was pregnant, I was looking for a job. Every job interview I went to, they would look at my belly, or they would just like say they was gonna call me back and not call me back. So that's how I ended up going to GOSO through SAVE, because once they referred me here, it was like, let's get the ball rolling. I hope GOSO can make an impact as many people's life as possible, because they surely made an impact on mine.
When you do this kind of work, you literally get more out of it than the guys or young women that you're helping. Once you make that connection and that success happens, makes your day. It's made a life for me in the past 20 years.
I get fulfillment knowing that we are saving lives.
I just think everybody should give anything a chance and just take a leap. I took a leap with GOSO.
GOSO just brings change, and I feel like people should invest in change.
If you need the help, this is the place to be.
When my son looks back on his childhood, I just want him to see how stable we were. When he looks back on his life, he's gonna say like, wow, I have such a great mom.